In today's video, we're going to be tracking a major storm that's going to be moving across the nation, bringing impacts from coast to coast, including major severe weather and some flooding implications, as well as some snowfall. There is other storms as well that we're going to be discussing, but that's going to be the main event today. Let's just walk through things. This video is going to be coming out a little bit later. It is going to be a late night special, so let's take a look at tomorrow afternoon on Sunday. Might be today from the time you're watching this. We do have a storm system out west bringing rainfall for the lower elevations and coastal regions here of the west. But the Sierra Nevadas and other surrounding mountainous areas are seeing snowfall from this system. We also have a very weak low nearby the Great Lakes, bringing some precipitation there to the Great Lakes and the surrounding mid-Atlantic and northeast regions. Let's just move past it because Sunday is a little bit quieter. And for most of today's model run, that will be the trend. Quieter overall. We'll see on the total precipitation that a little bit less activity than we've been experiencing is going to be the case here for the next 10 days as we get a little bit of a break from the wild pattern that we've had from about the midpoint of March through about nearly the midpoint of April, because it's just coming to an end now. Of course, later on, over the coming weeks, I do expect that this will pick back up. It's very rare to see such a quiet pattern. So we should thank our lucky stars, of course, for this, as this has just been really nice, especially after the major weather that we've had across multiple regions of the states. We do have a 991 here for eastern Colorado, and this is the beginning of our severe weather outbreak here, starting Monday night into Tuesday. This is Monday afternoon, so it's just getting going, and we do see some snowfall over the mountainous regions of the Rockies there, some heavier rainfall up here in the upper Midwest and northern plains, and likely some isolated thunderstorms that are getting started across the plains like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and maybe a bit of Louisiana and Nebraska there as well. Let's move this towards the evening, and we see really rapidly, we see some intensification, especially as we move overnight about 2, 3, 4 a.m. here. This low is a 990 in between Colorado, Kansas, and Oklahoma. And we're starting to get these supercells developing likely throughout portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas here. Some other showers and thunderstorms up to the north here are certainly worth keeping our eyes on. But the main area of severe weather concern is going to be across this corridor between Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, mostly the southern three of those. And as we move on a couple of hours, we see that those thunderstorms do continue into the days following, starting Tuesday afternoon. We have these thunderstorms now across eastern Texas, into portions of Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois there. Again, 985 now over eastern Nebraska there. We have some other showers and thunderstorms of concern there as well. 985 overall is just extremely major, and there's no way around it. So this is going to be an impactful low pressure system there for the day on Tuesday. By Wednesday, it's not really necessarily coming to an end. We have a 995 now over Iowa and Wisconsin, somewhere in between there. And we see a lot of cold air diving in behind it, so we're seeing some snowfall for the Rockies here. And we're also seeing a cold front kind of progressing across the nation, and then a warm front up to the north here. So what you're getting is a push of warmth here out ahead of these thunderstorms, which is creating the environment that is ideal for these storms. And then you're getting this cold air trying to move in underneath things and along that cold front, and that's where the instability comes from and a lot of the severe weather implications. So I expect more of that for the day on Wednesday the 17th here across the Gulf states up through Tennessee, Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, and into the Great Lakes as well. And likely as we reach Wednesday into Thursday, kind of overnight, this will be about 2 a.m. on Thursday, there is some thunderstorm activity left over for portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, as well as a little bit of the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. Now, colder air is the trend behind this thing, and as it continues to move eastward, more and more cold air will be moving in. We get kind of a second cold front here that develops along it. No major low anywhere to be seen, but there is some thunderstorms building along this boundary, and this boundary is that area between the warmth and the cold, so no surprise that we get plenty of instability in here. Perhaps a heavier pocket from the Gulf states up through the Mid-Atlantic there, so that will be something to watch for. Some isolated and scattered thunderstorms, perhaps some severe weather as well. We'll be watching all of those things, but a nice little push of cold air is moving in. That's Friday the 19th. Here's Sunday the 20th, and look at this. We even have a ridge building back out west. This is super depressing for me because I'm just ready for the warmth, but we see a lot of cold moving into the central and eastern states perhaps at this point, again, Saturday the 20th. We don't have a low across the plains, but we do have some snowfall to the north in the Rockies there, and some thunderstorm or severe weather implications happening in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas again. But again, without a major low there, it's easy to assume that this will be a little bit less impactful than the prior storm, although, anything's possible, so we'll just continue to track it. By Sunday, it slips to the south as this jet stream is kind of doing a descent here across the plains. It makes sense that these storms are also descending similarly to the south of that. So we see Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, into Mississippi there, seeing some thunderstorm activity, maybe even heavier at times. Again on Sunday the 21st there. And by Monday the 22nd, this really, really rapidly moves into the southeast. So we're seeing states like Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and North Carolina perhaps seeing some impacts from this one. And then for the day on Tuesday, it looks rather quiet, rather cold for the east here still, but it does look like that pattern is coming to an end. We do have a cold and stormy air mass moving on to the northwest, which if you've kept up with the channel for a while, you know this is kind of the beginning signs of this warm air mass that is currently over the plains and the Rockies to go ahead and move towards the east here. So we can expect this kind of eastern progression to take place at some point after the 20th, and that could be what breaks up the colder pattern that we're gonna eventually move into here in the east. Total precipitation, again, I told you guys it's a little bit quieter. We do see some reds, but it's not widespread at all. There is some above average amounts here for some of the west, some of the plains into the Great Lakes, a little bit here of the southern plains and Gulf states, and then definitely I would say the most active area here overall is the northeast, believe it or not, where we're seeing a pretty consistent 2 to 5 inches of precipitation from Pennsylvania and New Jersey northward. So pretty impactful there. The temperature pattern here, we'll take a look. Again, we're moving into a warmer pattern that's starting for the most part on Monday. Tuesday, it's still lingering. Wednesday here, it's still around. Thursday as well. But this is when this cold front really gets going and we get this cold air trying to move eastward. And simultaneously, we kind of get to see the causation of all of this, and that's going to be this warmth from the southwest here all the way up the west coast. And that is going to be your kind of positive PNA, which will be the driving force, like I mentioned, which will bring this cold air eastward. So for Friday, we see it progress quite a bit. And by a Saturday, Sunday timeframe, it's already fully engulfed the entire central and eastern states here with a very healthy looking positive PNA out west, making this all possible. As this warm air surges to the north out west, it causes all of the cold air that would be over western Canada to pour into the east here, and that is exactly what we're seeing take place. And it's even reaching deep into the south, like Mexico, Texas, down through the Gulf states, and a lot of the southeast, although Georgia and Florida kind of get spared from some of the cooler temperatures, holding on to some of that warmth for quite a while. Monday, Tuesday, it's still there, but again, this is kind of that potential transition as we see colder air building for the west. Could be the beginning of a negative PNA, which, like I mentioned earlier, would force this warm air eastward. Therefore, this cold air would basically have to go. So this could be what we're seeing by the end of the pattern, which again would be for kind of Monday through Tuesday, 22nd, 23rd, and beyond. So we'll be watching for that closely. Here's that categorical outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. We do have a couple of general thunderstorm risk areas like the Great Lakes. Here, some of the west, mountainous west especially, and then some of the California coastline. We also have a marginal risk here for Oregon, and that is going to be your level 1 severe weather risk. We expect isolated impacts in there. Keep in mind this is only through the morning of the 14th, which is going to be basically tonight. So by 6 a.m. tomorrow, this is outdated. So the only time this is really applicable is going to be if you're seeing this video the night of upload, which is Saturday, April 13th. Beyond 11 p.m. So certainly you're going to get pretty late notice of all this. But for the day tomorrow, this will be for Sunday the 14th into, again, 6 a.m. on Monday the 15th. I wish they did them in, 12 to 12 a.m. increments, but they don't. That'd make it a little bit easier. A lot of these events go overnight, so they like to keep it kind of in line with the event timing and not necessarily the clock timing, if that makes sense. We do have a general thunderstorm risk across a lot of the northwest into the Rockies and even the northern plains there. One here for the southwest, and then we have a main area of concern, I would say, from the Ohio Valley into portions of the mid-Atlantic and northeast, where we do have that general thunderstorm risk in the lighter green, where we don't expect severe weather, but technically anything's possible, so be on the lookout. The darker green area is where we expect isolated severe weather, And then we do have this yellow area from Ohio into Pennsylvania, and that's going to be your slight risk area, which is a level 2 severe weather risk, indicating potential scattered severe thunderstorm activity for the day tomorrow. For day 3 here, which will be Monday on April 15th, again, most of these are going to be kind of in early Tuesday time frame as opposed to late Monday for this event, but we do have this general thunderstorm risk area for a lot of the states here. We have the level 1 marginal risk here for a lot of the plains and Midwest, which is going to be those isolated severe weather events. Your yellow here is your slight risk, level 2, which again will bring about that scattered severe weather. And then we have our orange area, which is enhanced for portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. And that's going to be a little bit more widespread. That's where we're going to be seeing these really organized systems with pretty consistent severe weather would be the expectations. Probably a lot of damaging wind, some tornadoes likely to happen, and even some hail in there as well for these areas. Now, we do have one extended outlook here, and that's going to be for day 4 on Tuesday the 16th. That doesn't mean there won't be severe weather on the other days. This is just one that they've specifically pointed out in the long range. But this roughly translates to a slight risk here in the yellow. It's so large that one could assume that there is a good chance that there would be an enhanced risk or more in there as well. We see that very, very often. And this is going to be for states like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, a bit of Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky, some of Indiana, all of Illinois there, a lot of Iowa, and pretty much all of Missouri as well, where we look to see probably a slight risk for all of these areas, if not more. Sometimes that's hit or miss. That's why I always say it kind of roughly translates. Percentage-wise, it does, but they oftentimes change quite a bit when it goes from the extended range into that 3-day range, which is when they give the full categorical outlook. So in tomorrow's video, we will be able to show you the categorical outlook for Tuesday the 16th, so stay tuned for that one, and maybe even we'll get some other long-range outlooks. Only time will tell. So be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.